record. Hi. And now I'll be very nice to you. Okay. So here's what I was thinking for our one-on-one. I wanted to, first of all, hear exactly where you're at, how you're doing. And based on that, go back. I want to revisit what it was that we were setting up in the beginning of this. And I just want to make sure that you're feeling that this is a worthwhile adventure for you. So
Oh, I'm definitely feeling that.
okay, you are. Great. Hey, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Tell me how is this a worthwhile adventure for you?
Well, I feel very supported. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I just feel like I can be all over the place and have a container for that and have the right kind of container for that, because there was some early discussion, like you kind of know where I want to go and I kind of know where I want to go.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's a lot of room and there's a lot of permission, and there's a way in which this is feels like a very fluid spiral
Yes.
like process
Yeah.
versus a very linear process.
Yes.
And when I really settle into that, when I'm not panicked around that, feeling like, oh my God, I have to know what's going on in 2 weeks. But if I can really settle into that, I feel like it's been very worthwhile for me.
Great. Great. Okay. I'm glad to hear that. You put it really, really beautifully, that it is a spiral process. It's not a linear process. And I love that you're allowing yourself to go on that. And then I'm loving what you bring, how you show up and what you bring to the conversation is it's so present and it's so committed, and it's great. Okay.
And it's really good to reconnect with all of that and to have made that investment.
Okay, great.
I think both of those things energetically are just very, very key right now for me.
Okay. Great. You want to tell me how you're feeling today?
Well, I'm much better today. I mean, I was actually much better after we spoke yesterday. It was, yeah, I just felt like, um, to kind of have that check-in. And also everybody else's share. Like I was really happy to have the depression be brought up and the grief to be brought up, because it's kind of like it's been in my consciousness that, and kind of like I love when Steven shares, because he shares so much about his material. And I feel like, oh my God, do I have to look at that shit again? And the answer is yes. I mean, it never goes away. I mean, and not that I'm saying that about him. I'm not saying that at all about him, but he brings it up in me, like he brings up in me, like, of course things are going to be like this, Nancy, because this is this is how it is, This is your epigenetics, I love when you use that term. And so it's really important for me to hear him, like his shares really open me to that part of my process, which I love. And yeah, because I think I can sometimes, and this is why I felt so much better yesterday. I think I can sometimes really want to have it all together, and I don't want to not do that. And so I like a fight against it. Like, oh, I want to have all my shit together, and not only do I want it, I make myself do it. And it's like, that's not real.
Great.
So anyway,
Great.
but I did, but so coming yesterday and like being in that, I love how you call it, that soup. I just felt both really a part of the soup, and like that I could really be in the soup and get what I needed from the soup, and also just kind of um be in the soup to give what I need to give.
Great. 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 Great check-in. Yeah, and then, and from my perspective, so however this feels lands on you, um, what we call service backlash
Yeah.
is you having it all together. To me, your service backlash is deepening you having it all together. It's really good. I mean, I hate that you're
Yeah.
going through it. I hate that you're experiencing
Yeah.
it. I also hold a perspective of what I have a larger perspective and I'm not in your shoes. So it's easier for me to go, yay, Nancy. Um uh and there's a lot of perfection in it, the timing of it. There's a timeline with this, and you're just perfect, perfect on the timeline. Um and this is the really uncomfortable. I always get angry when people, because I've been told I am turning into a butterfly so many times in my life already that like I like this chrysalis into butterfly, but that it truly is where you're it's actually very apt for the experience that you're
Mhm.
having now, which is
Mhm.
the it's so painful. So
Yeah.
painful. And it takes so much effort to break through this cocoon case that you're in, and then service shows up,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it's because it's all about feeding what's right for you right now.
Mhm.
Feed for yourself, feed yourself, feed yourself, feed yourself, feed yourself, and then it's like, get away, and now I can emerge,
Mhm.
and now I can be here for you. Why? Because I am fed, I am nourished. Oh, that also explains something else. Hold on. So I thought that if you're interested, I'd like to talk to you about the gift markings in your hands, and also revisit what we talked about in the very, very beginning, like our first one-on-ones, and like what the ideas were with it, and just see and just visit it with
Yeah.
no agenda, with no like, let's get you going, nothing like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Let's just
Good.
visit it and see
Okay.
what feels right to you. So
Okay.
when I pose hand analysis and revisiting the where you were in the start, which one resonates with you more?
Hand analysis.
Let's do that. Okay. So my love, and I'm glad we're recording this. I'm not surprised, but you have many gifts. So, let's talk about your right hand first. In my world, your right hand represents who you are out in the world. Hi, nice to meet you. Left hand represents the part of you who your close people get to see, your more internal life. So I'm going to talk more about your right hand because our work together is about you out in the world. I mean, it's more than that, but it's cloaked under you out in the world. Okay, so the first thing that jumped out at me is this line that you have on your right hand. It's a career line.
Mhm.
And I can even tell you, if you want, we could, oh, you know what? I can share my screen and
Okay.
show you. Here, let me pull up the image. Yeah. This is why I got this computer. So let's see how it does. This is the first time I'm actually going to pull up all three things on one computer. It should work without too much hesitation. Where is, I guess I closed out it. I guess I closed it out. Hold on one second. Pod. None. Let's see. Let's pull up your right hand. There you are. This goes away. This comes here. I'm going to make it a little smaller. There we go. All right. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to share my desktop. Let's see if this works. Let's see what happens. Nothing happened, huh?
Not yet.
Okay, so that didn't work. Oh, because I didn't click that. Allows in. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, great. Can this go away? Sorry, new computer. So now all the things are popping up. Like, do you want to have this preference? Do you want to have this preference? Okay, so sorry, I'm gonna try it again.
Okay.
Basic. Desktop. Share. Okay. Open system. I have to grant. Yes, there we go. That's what I needed to do. Use password. That's where it is. We're gonna guess this password. May not be able to record contents of your screen until it is quit. Quit and reopen later. Three times a charm. Let's do it. Oh, this is looking very good. Here we go. Do you see?
Oh, look at
the
that.
right hand? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I actually made it smaller. So let's go like this. Let's not get scared. Let's not scare you with your right hand. I have to drag this bar out of the way. Bar goes out of the way. Okay. So what I was looking at is, can you see my cursor?
Yep.
Okay. This is the first line that jumped out at me.
Yep.
So when we're born with three major lines in our hand. This is another one we need to talk about. Okay. This one, which is called your headline, it's how I look at how your brain processes information.
Yep.
It's one of your gift markings. It's one of the gifts you have. This one, which I look at as how you would achieve emotional gratification with other people in relationship. It's called your heartline. This one that circles this mound here, which is part of your thumb. That's called your lifeline, which I look at in terms of being able to achieve the skill sets of very basic food, clothing, shelter, super basic needs, eating, sleeping, breathing, and moving, like in your body, how you are in the body. This line is one of your career lines, and it's supposed to be a minor line, but can you see that it is just as deep and dark as the major lines? So that's the first thing that stuck out to me. Like, your connection to your career and work is so strong. It is almost as strong as, and look at this, in some cases, stronger than your lifeline.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it totally, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, and as I'm saying this, there is a hand analysis explanation for it. So, do you see how this is so like strong, meaning the depth of the carving?
Yeah.
That mirrors this part of your lifeline.
Yeah.
It's as though the energy of your lifeline, eating, sleeping, breathing, moving, got sucked over into this line. And that is an indication, it's a marking, it's a special marking, it's called a quest marking. And a quest marking is about someone's career. It's about the path of a career that you have can't be compared to anybody else's. So this is what it would look like. It's, oh, I did this job for a while. It was fine. It was not the thing, but I learned some great skills. I'm going to take those skills with me. I'm going to go on to the next job. Oh, next job is fine. As though this is a linear timeline, it's not really, but
Yeah.
I'm pretend it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I go on to the next job. Also fine, great, not really the thing for me, but I'm learning these skills. I'm going to take this skill and I'm going to put it into a little toolkit that I'm creating for myself. And then, oh, I'm going to do this line. And it's possible that these jobs from one to the other do not look like a linear career move. It's just like, oh, I'm going to go to here. Oh, I'm going to go here. Oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. And so eventually what ends up happening is that somehow you look back on the course of your career, which would not necessarily make a lot of sense to many people, but all of a sudden these disparate tools skills that you garnered along the way somehow work together in this organic fashion. It means that you have this ability to ultimately make a significant contribution to the field of your choice. And so in the world of hand analysis, not many things have timelines, but this is one that does. Between this and your trajectory of going from sacrifice into service, also a later in life experience, you're someone who is wired to have the best days of their lives starting right about now. You're what we call a late bloomer.
I was, I worked with a teacher who also energetically, he just used a different, it's all the same stuff, right? People use different things, but he used birth order and birth experience. And I almost was not born. Just did not want to, I did not want to come out. I mean, it was amazing. And when I was in college, it's a big long story, but when I became sexually active, I was smart enough to know I wanted birth control. So I told my mother, I said, when I'm home on break, I want to go see your gynecologist. She said, for what? And I said, for birth control. Like, I was like, fuck you, I'm going to have sex, like mom, old fashioned lady mom. And so he read to me from the chart. He delivered me, but he read it. It was unbelievable to hear it. And particularly from his voice. I mean, he was the one who delivered me, because
Really?
I really did not want to be born. They did all kinds of things to get me out, and I just didn't come. I just wouldn't come. I wouldn't come. I wouldn't come. I wouldn't come. Yeah. So I'm a really bloomer. And I identify with that. And it's, when I learned the birth energy piece to like life, and I feel that. I mean, I definitely feel that. Like when I learned it like in the 90s with the teacher then, I thought, oh my God, that makes so much sense for my life. And then,
yeah, you like to cook. You need to, long.
but I really like to cook.
Exactly. That's perfect. I'm getting chills. This is perfect.
Yeah. And it's not, it wasn't necessarily safe. And like, sometimes that's how it feels. It's like, if I don't do something, I'm just going to lose everything. I have that sense, like if I don't move in some direction.
Yes. Interesting. Does the circuitous route of your career path, does that resonate with you?
Very much so, because that's one of my major, and I don't know that I said this when you and I, talked on day one, but like one of my major goals, if you want to call it a goal, one of my major goals that has been very front and center for the last few years is making a coherent whole of my life.
Yeah.
And that, it sounds like that's what I'm wired to do in some ways.
That's correct. And here's the thing, that it will organically come to you. It's not something that can intellectually be figured out. And when you have this and you pair it with the sacrifice to service trajectory, they're all interwoven.
Yeah.
So the key is for you to be exactly where you are right now. Do this service backlash. Fully own it. I'll get back to you next week. I'll let you know when I'm available.
Yeah, I said, I did that all as soon as we hung up. And I said to this friend, she's a friend, but like, it's very one-sided. It's
Yes.
very, I wouldn't be calling her if she weren't calling me.
Yes.
And I don't have, in fact, I just wrote that down while you were searching, because I was kind of like in that mindset. Like, here's the thing. This is what I wrote down when you were screen sharing. I don't want anything or anybody usurping my energy right now. And she's a usurper of my energy. Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
And so I just said, look, I'll have to circle back to you about that, about a chat. That's what I said. Because that sounded more like me. Like if I said, something else, she might ask too many questions too. So I just said that. End of
Perfect.
story. End of story. And circle back, I didn't say when.
Perfect. Great, Nancy. Perfect.
Yeah.
You're exactly where you need to be right now. It's perfect. Like, I don't want to coach you. Like, I don't want to be like, come on, let's get you. Like, I just want to completely respect and honor exactly where you are right now. Because it is, in a sense, metaphorically, a birth canal that you're in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just thinking that. It's right before you said it. I was just thinking that. I think that's why it feels so painful, right?
Yes.
Birth is not, it's not it's not easy.
No. Not unless you're cesarean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And it's a lot of negotiation. It's a lot of tight, and it's a lot of push. It's fucking painful for everyone involved. Beautiful. Okay. So great discovery. Now, here's the second thing that I noticed. This line that carves across your hand in the center of your palm from your pointer all the way. This is how your brain processes information. It is long. It is straight. I mean, there's no curve to it. It's at an angle, but there's no curve to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you actually have super linear thinking. You're capable of like bringing things from the beginning to the end of problem solving. You're a linear problem solver. The fact that your line goes all the way across your hand means you are wired to solve interesting, complex problems.
It's good to know.
It's a gift marking that you have, your brain. So you have the ability to take on very complicated problems, very big, very complicated problems. You have that ability. And it takes time to absorb all the information, come to a conclusion, and then take action. You're like, I need to know more. And then you can synthesize. It's called a big synthesizer brain. This needs to be utilized in your occupation. Actually, it needs to be utilized every day. When we go into gift marking territory, which is what this is, this line is not a gift marking. It's just like a special marking. The quest marking is not a gift. It's like, oh, a cool thing. And we're going to actually get back to it because I realize there's a lot more to talk about. So, but let's finish this up first. When we're in gift marking territory, when you are not utilizing your gift, there is you'll experience a penalty.
Mhm.
So you'll know your brain is being utilized the way that you're wired when you sit down to solve something, you get absorbed, you reemerge, you wonder where the time has gone. So that's how you know your brain is being used the right way. This is how you know your brain is not being used the right way. When you go to bed at night and you're like, I have to, and you start obsessing on things. I should have said this to this person. I need to do this. I didn't do that. I need, and it's about relationships. And I should have said this, and I should have, and the brain, your brain goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. That is because that day your brain did not get utilized the way it's supposed to get utilized. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the penalty is obsessing,
Yeah.
because what's going to happen
I'm
is that
so obsessed.
you're so obsessed because your brain is looking to solve, looking to solve, looking to solve. So it's going to go to this area of your life. I'm going to solve my relationships. I'm going to solve my relationships. I'm going to solve my relationships. But your relationships don't get solved with your brain.
No.
I'm going to solve my my intuition. I'm going to solve my spiritual life. I'm going to solve everything. I'm going to solve my sensuality. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to figure it out. It's how you're wired. It's how you're
Yeah.
wired. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out my sexuality. I'm going to figure out my spirituality. I'm going to figure out my relationships.
Yeah.
That's how you know your brain needs more brain power, synthesizing, solving big problems. So, so you and I are similar in this. Yours is much bigger, stronger than mine, but we're wired in a similar way. So for me, being a producer was great because, oh, there are no systems. I'll create the systems.
Mhm.
That's what I do.
Mhm.
I love to create systems. And then I go and I render that, then my brain is, or, oh, I have to create a website. I don't know how to do that. I'm going to figure out how to do it. And then I reemerge 3 days later.
Mhm.
So it is imperative that your brain does stuff like that every day as well. So do you have things that engage your brain in that way?
No.
Okay.
Not at the moment. No. And I get obsessed. I like clean the house,
Yes. Okay.
I obsess about kind of the stuff you were saying, like, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, maybe I should think about this, maybe I should think about that, maybe I should, be more spiritual, maybe I should be more productive. I get obsessed though. I don't do anything. I just obsess about it.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So
And oh, go ahead.
we're now going to placate your brain for a moment. This is like an over-the-counter little panacea for you. We're
Okay.
gonna figure it out. Do you like word games?
I could get obsessed with them though. I have to be really careful.
Okay.
Yes, I do. And actually, when you were talking to me, I was thinking, the only thing that I've ever done in my life where I have been completely lost, where I remember this in Vermont. I sat down at my laptop to work on a poem. It was probably like after dinner, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I can't even, I still to this day can't imagine that number of hours went by getting this poem right. But I
Yeah.
was like an award-winning poet in Vermont. Like my poems were that good.
Oh, Nancy.
Yeah. Like I was entering winning contests, you know.
Nancy.
I know. So I feel like I could do that. I feel like I could take some of my obsession and start writing poetry.
Yes, please.
I could.
Yes, please.
Because you do need to figure it out. You do. I mean, I don't know if you do that, but I remember being in this you had to get into this group. And this one guy said to me, I wish I could do my commas the way you do my commas. Because writing poetry, that comma has to be perfect for that poem to really make it to work. I mean, I love that stuff. I love that stuff. I love obsessing about a comma. I do. I love it. I love that. I can get behind obsessing about a comma in a poem.
So that's the most emphatic I've ever heard you.
Oh, it's good to hear. Yeah. Yeah. I really need to reintroduce that aspect of myself, don't I? And that actually might take me somewhere.
I think so.
Yeah. When you were talking, there were the 2 times in my life I was the happiest. I know, let me back that up. Let me say this. I've been a pretty happy person. I've had my ups and downs, and I had a long period of like no long period, but years, a few years, like more years than I would want, of being pretty low. But
yeah,
one was high school. And I remember like I was charged with this project to figure out how everybody was going to be involved in the senior talent show and the senior prom. And I pulled it off.
Oh,
Like, see, isn't that a cool thing? Does that make sense with my line?
It's
It makes sense.
perfect.
It makes sense. It's like, all right, I had to keep thinking up of like big, large skits that nobody needed to have any talent to do, because that's who had to come in.
Yes.
And that's not even my forte, right? I'm not a sketch person. Like that wasn't, but what I was charged with was like inclusive, cohesive, figure this out. And I had lots of support from the teachers, and anything you want to do, you just let us know what what you think can work. I remember that. And I remember being like, I remember going to them and they were like, that's great, and it was like, really? Yeah. And the same thing, I had a job for many, many, many years. My mother couldn't believe I left. I left to go be with Carl when he went to medical school.
Yeah.
Basically it was, here's what you need to do. These patients need to be cared for. You figure out how to do it.
Oh.
You don't need to meet any productivity standard. You don't need to be, there's not that they just need to be cared for. Can you imagine having that job? It was amazing.
Wow, Nancy.
I set up a healing touch clinic. That's what I did.
Right.
I said, you know what? I'm going to do all kinds of things for these. Everybody had AIDS, so there was a lot of leeway because it was just a tough time, tough disease.
Yes. Yes.
It was great. It was great. So I need to get back to that. Like, I'm really excited talking about this. I'm really excited to know that this is part of who I am.
It's a really big part of who you are. It's an essential part of who you are. Yeah. So let's go back to the relationship between your brain and your career line.
Mhm.
This career line, also, we don't call it a gift marking, which is good, which means you're not in a penalty for it. This career, but it does go into a gift marking. Oh, Nancy. Okay. So this career line is called a synchronistic Saturn career line, which means that to the degree that you do things that are in alignment with who you are, is the degree that you are going to be supported. You will get whatever it is you need. And it will come from sources that you will anticipate, or it may come from sources you would have could never anticipate. but what it is you need will be granted. So I see you shaking you're nodding your
Well,
head.
it was like the Tupperware lady skit in high school. It's like the teachers were like, that sounds great. And then somebody like provided all the Tupperware. It was just like the craziest thing. And then everybody who wasn't in the talent show got to be a Tupperware lady or a vegetable. And so everybody got to be in the it's so silly. I remember even like as a 17-year-old thinking they're never going to go for this, but it's what I came up with. And I had this whole thing. It was like a hit. And I remember the Tupperware, like somebody got it. One of the teachers got a friend. She brought it all in. We never even had, like, she just gave us all this stuff. It just worked. It just worked. So I love that you're saying that because I remember that. I remember that. And they were like, yeah, that's a great.
This is a fantastic touchstone for you.
It is. I'm going to remember that.
Perfect. Perfect, Nancy.
I love that.
Fantastic. See, I love that all the things that are coming out of your mouth right now, to me, is really important information. This is how you're wired. So as you go into your encore career, this is what's informing me as an observer. But like, look at how lit up you are. This is what feeds you.
Yeah.
And yes, this is also this gift that whoever you end up working with is going to receive. Great. So now let's travel down to this part of your synchronistic Saturn line. I am going to zoom in on it. Hold on. This.
Yep.
We call a star in hand analysis an intersection of 3 or more lines. Usually, they are small. Let me see if I can give you another example. We call this a little star. This is like
yeah, I see that. Yep.
Here.
Yep.
This is almost a star here.
Yep.
A little bit. Compare the size of this.
Yep.
To this.
Yep.
Okay. This area of your hand, the technical term is called the moon mound. This is the area of your spirituality, your intuition. This star is a gift marking. And this gift marking says that you are a spiritual teacher. And the way that I define spiritual teacher is someone who understands God's rules for living, the cycle of life. Now, when this spiritual teacher gift marking is not being used, the penalty, technically, and tell me how this verbiage resonates with you, means that you will feel, to whatever degree, your closet of unmet emotional needs. Do you have a closet of unmet emotional needs? You do. So that's going to come up.
Yeah.
And add to that your massive brain. My guess is that you could obsess about your closet of unmet emotional needs to try to figure them out.
Yeah.
Right? Because your brain is going to come in like, oh no, there's an issue. I'm going to figure it out. But here's the thing. Every line has a different skill set. The skill set of problem solving is what your brain does. The skill set for your closet of unmet emotional needs, the skill set for your intuition, the skill set for your spirituality is intuition and to connect with the divine.
Yeah. Well, I know this because I've been resistant to it, but when I, am in nature, I'm fine. That, all my emotional needs get met there.
Bingo.
Yeah. And that's one of my New Year's resolutions, more or less, is like, there's no reason I can't be doing that 3 times a week. There's no reason except my own stuff, right? There's no reason. I have a car. The places are not far. They're unbelievably beautiful. You can't even imagine you're, right outside of Baltimore.
Yes.
I'm sure I'm sure there are places like that where you live too.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that part of the world where you are.
Oh, me too. Me
Beautiful.
too. There's something very different about the Mid-Atlantic. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah. Chesapeake. Yeah.
Chesapeake. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I'm going to go further than there's no reason to, but I'm actually going to say, from this perspective, you actually need to.
You're prescribing it.
I am prescribing it. And see how your closet of unmet emotional needs dissipates as you connect with nature.
Mhm.
Let's talk about this. We're gonna thread together all the information that you and I have talked about in pieces. You have a quest marking, meaning that you are now synthesizing, again, synthesizing here. So you're going to synthesize with your brain, but you're also synthesizing through your life, your work experience, your path, your work path, your disparate work path. That's synthesizing the tools, but it's rooted in your spirituality.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
So I'm going to take this a next step further, and I'm making this up. You tell me how this resonates for you. Creating a system around the tools that you have garnered, your toolbox, your personal toolbox, and spirituality.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, those are the pieces. And like then this is all a literal, I'm piecing it together, but you're wired like that. So when I say that and you're like, yeah, tell me more about tell me how that resonates with you.
Um. So like the tools I have garnered through my work really support a spiritual, support who I am as a spiritual being. They're not separate.
Very good.
Does that make sense?
100%.
So, like it started, I mean, I was always, nursing to me was always a spiritual path,
Yes.
which is really why I think, I don't know what, these last 10 years have just been really brutal because it was just so difficult.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was so far off out of that realm. So for instance, when I was told, you figure this out, I didn't say, oh, let's write handouts on how to support, adherence, which was a big part of our job, getting people to take the medication so they wouldn't die because nobody wanted to take those meds. I didn't write handouts. I did a healing touch clinic.
Perfect.
I had already learned a tool, although I first learned it for patients, but I realized, oh yeah, right.
Yes.
So, and it's kind of like the same with like the yoga dance, like that was all about leadership.
Yes.
And so, I was definitely a leader.
Yes. Yes.
So something about like supporting that part of myself that shows up for myself. Do you know that, like that, when I need a system a part of that system is what is the tool that supports who needs to show up.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm thinking I read this book a while back called I forget what it was called, The Wealthy Something. I want to say The Wealthy Farmer, but it wasn't that. It was about this guy who became like extremely wealthy. I don't know it's a true story. The story is based on like this guy's experience, but and he every night he went into his sauna, and that was where he kind of decompressed and really thought. He had this like unfettered time to think, and it supported the part of him that needed to do the work he needed to do in the world.
Yeah.
And I remember really like resonating with that. Like, I don't have a way to kind of, you know, I don't have like I don't have a cornice molding, like the row houses in Baltimore. They have these cornice moldings. And I just learned this on a tour. It's because you have to say that's the end of the house. Otherwise you just keep going. And I feel like I need a cornice molding. I need something to kind of like hold. And that's kind of the feedback I was giving you in the beginning. Like, this has been a cornice molding for me, this group, this experience.
Right.
It's been holding something for me
Right.
that I haven't been able to hold for myself.
Very good. I love that. Is it possible that his sauna experience could be your walking, your outdoor, your nature experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like also his sauna experience is could be, and tell me if I'm hearing you right, could be other people's shower experiences. Like,
Yeah. I shower before I go to bed every night, and I really use it as a time for that. Like, I really like, it's a very mindful practice. And we do have a hot tub. We usually go in together, and it's very lovely because it supports our relationship, which I love, because we're contained. Although, you know, sometimes it's late and I'm tired and I love to, I feel like I'm in a womb. I fall asleep. I can't stay awake.
Well, we know that you like the womb.
I know. Well, and you know, this room, I think you can see I have two red accent walls. I call it the red womb.
The red womb.
Bedroom, but I call it the red womb. I feel very, I do a lot of work up here. I feel very like, and it's like a tree house. It's the third floor.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is great, but that creating a system around my tools as a spiritual being feels like it needs to be my 40-day work. You know, like this is what I need to be doing. I'm like taking this pause. Did I tell you this? I'm taking like a 40-day pause.
Oh, I see. No, I didn't know what your 40-day work meant.
Well, because I feel like I can't tell people I'll get back to you and never get back to them. I feel like I might get back to them differently after 40 days, but I've like committed to this, like it's a spiritual thing, right? 40 days in the desert.
Yep.
So I'm doing that. I mean, I'm not doing it like obviously I can't, there are things that I have to do, but like the extraneous stuff, the phone calls, the people, you know, want to talk. Nope. You know, the invitations other than with my people, you know, I have people here, like there was an invitation from them that is soul nourishing.
Great.
But otherwise, nope. Because I need the time.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I love that big star on my hand.
Yeah. Yes, good. I'm glad that you love it. Now let's move over here to this area here. This is also part of your career. This is what we call a travel line, a travel marker. It used to be called death in a foreign land marker, meaning that for my career, I'm going to sail off to foreign lands to find my riches. And then they wouldn't sail back because they went off to foreign lands and then they wouldn't sail back. And so that's called death in a foreign land. which is now called a travel marking, which means that your career needs to include travel. Does that resonate with you?
A little bit. I
Okay.
mean, yes, it resonates a lot. Yeah, but yeah, I've become such a homebody, but yeah.
That's how you're wired. Now, something else I want to show you. When I look at your hand as a whole, I see your palm, I see your fingers, and then I see your thumb. Your thumb is disproportionately larger than the other fingers. Do you see that? Your thumb is about measurable, tangible results in the world. So much energy is in that. I add it to your purpose, your life purpose, generating measurable, tangible results, seeing things to fruition. It's willpower in place, very in place. Now here's going to be a key for you, and this might make you puke. This area of your hand, and it takes up so much real estate. This area here that's inside the lifeline. Oh yeah, I've introduced it before. This is your Venus mound, and this is your Mars mound. This is your Venus mound. Your Venus mound is connected to your living in the 5 senses. You're really wired, like you would love living in the 5 senses. But this is saying to me that this aspect of your life needs more attention.
Yep. That resonates. It actually resonated when you talked about it. Was it Stephanie you talked about it with? Yeah.
So, taste, sight, sound, smell, touch. The clothes you put on should feel beautiful and luxurious. The soaps you use should smell beautiful. The oils or lotions or whatever should feel really delicious. When you walk into a room, it would be like the textures and the colors and the lighting would feed you. Smells, whether it's baking or if it's an essential oil or whatever. Sounds, whether it's music that you want to hear or the sound of a desktop fountain, water fountain, or play with that, because all of that is about self-nurturing, and it's about self-loving, and it is accessing your internal mother. Let me take care of you. So for you, creating the most womb-like environment would feel so fulfilling and nurturing. Like that.
Yeah.
When you nurture yourself that way, then you'll be unstoppable. When you try to make stuff happen, this little itty bitty part of your hand, which is about moving forward. When you do that on its own, then you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
So you are so primed to feed yourself, and then you will be able to generate measurable, tangible results, and then you'll be able to go out and do courageous things. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the pathway, right? Feed myself. Right? Feed myself, nurture myself. And then not have to figure anything out. What did you say? Feed myself and then what?
And then you'll have the energy to generate measurable, tangible results. Take action in the world, and you won't get burnt out. But also you'll show up, because of the path that you're on, in a place of service. You feed yourself now, which is what you have to do now. You literally can't do anything else. You literally cannot show up for anybody else.
No, I can't.
Cannot.
No, you're right.
So now what I imagine might be calling to you, nature and the 5 senses. And if that's your 40 days of work, transformation.
I love that. And I'm really blessed that I can do it.
Yeah, beautiful. Gratitude for the support. That is this. That's your moon star. Great. Questions, comments, concerns?
No, this is like amazing, Lynn.
Great.
Amazing.
Great.
Amazing.
Great. Good. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. Coming back. Hi.
Hi. Oh my goodness. This was just what I needed. Yeah.
Love to hear that. I love to hear that. Perfect.
Yeah. Because I think, I don't really know what the generative stuff is going to look like, but this is just this is what I need. This is what I need. This is what I need.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because that stuff I know will come, right? It's not going to come. It's just that what I need is this.
Exactly. This is what's going to feed you during your service backlash. And we don't know how long your service backlash is going to be, but I love that you're giving yourself 40 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I had tried to do that when I left my job 4 years ago, but it just didn't work out, but I'm very committed to it now. So
Perfect. It's interesting how that happens. Okay, it happens when you're ready. Beautiful. Great work today.
Thank you.
Oh, great. So I'll end this recording. I'll upload it. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Great. And then I'll see you next Tuesday.
You will.
Perfect. All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You got it. I'll talk to you soon.